What's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. Oh my god, this, I swear down. Oh, you man don't even know. So, I think I may have mentioned it yesterday in my pre-fight prediction video. I told you, man, listen, Daniel Dubois, too big, too strong, and he's fixing to punch a hole through Kevin Lerena. And it's also interesting because one of my dons who does a bit of kind of gambling with me or whatever, I always tell him I don't watch fights live. Yeah, what I like to do is when the fight's on, I'll sit out for 45 minutes doing whatever I'm doing, and then after 45 minutes I'll refresh the box rec page and then see the result immediately. Why? I can't take the emotional ups and downs. Now this fight, Lerena versus Dubois, was exactly why, yeah, I ain't trying to sit through that crap. And really, Dubois versus Lerena is a key thing. Dubois versus Lerena is an advertisement against gambling. Don't gamble, kids. You know what going on? I'm just glad. Fair play to Dubois, yeah, he pulled it off. But that was, I ain't gonna lie to you, it looked like some sort of gambling scam to me. I remember looking at some of the odds, and it was something like 400 to 1. Or sort of 1,000 to 1 for Dubois to be knocked down 3 times in the first round. And it was odd because he wasn't even... Yeah, the first one he got hit on top of the head, but then he just kept going down without being hit. And then all of a sudden he come bouncing back, and within 2 rounds the guy was out of there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all a bit dodgy, wasn't it? And to be honest, looking at Frank Warren as well, Frank Warren wasn't that animated. It wasn't like I was shocked. I'm not even, listen, I don't know Daniel Dubois from Adam. Imagine if you're managing that guy and that's happening. I've got a little mash on the line. Frank Warren's got essentially millions of dollars on the line here, and he seemed quite relaxed. I don't know what's going on. It could be a scam for sure. Could be some big fix. Yeah, they thought, bum, because think about it, if you put a grand for 3 knockdowns in the first round, that's $1 million. Oops. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the kind of thing we're talking. You put a grand on, you made $1 million. You know what I mean? One of them ones. So, I don't know, it seemed odd. Again, even the first one looked odd. Bear in mind as well, people, yeah, Dubois historically is sturdy. One of the key reasons I bet on him was the fact that, you know what, Dubois sturdy, this guy here, in fact, I even said it in the video yesterday. I said Lerena couldn't even put down Marius Wack, for example. Lerena's KO, in fact, I mentioned that as well. Lerena's KO ratio is like 48%. He's not a big puncher. And we know what people are like at heavyweight when you're fighting bums, as Lerena has been fighting. When AJ was fighting bums, he knocked them all out in 100% KO ratio. Lerena can't even knock out bums. And can't even knock them down. 2-2s. Big buff, bulbous looking ass Dubois gets in there. And I do have to say again, this fight from both men was another advertisement against new age boxers. Yeah, I don't know, man. Listen, fair play to Dubois. Dubois isn't full new age, although I can't lie to you. Even though I knew the result when I watched the highlights, my heart was still going. I couldn't believe what I was watching even after I knew the result. Yeah, but these new age guys, man. Again, fair play. Dubois, he came through, yeah, but these new age guys, man, there's something about them. They don't, like, where's the pride? I don't believe Dubois needed to go down. And when I was watching it, yeah, I was thinking, this guy, I mean, even the commentators were saying, oh, Dubois don't want to be there, Dubois jacking, and you can't lie, that's how it looked. Yeah, he came through in the end, but really, the fact Dubois came through, I don't believe it was so much to do with what Dubois was doing. And that's why I mentioned about this fight was an advertisement against new age boxers, because as dodgy as Dubois looked, Lerena was even worse. Yeah? Lerena before the fight, giving it all this yammer. Oh, I'm coming. Oh, yes. What's his name? What's his voice? Good day, mate. Want to buy a kangaroo? All that kind of stuff. 100%. You're giving it all that one. Oh, good day, mate. Yeah, Dubois, mate. Yeah, kangaroo, mate. Want to buy a kangaroo? All that kind of business. You're giving it all that he was before the fight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I thought, fair play to the guy. He looked half serious. 2-2s. Let's be real here. Kevin Lerena had the best start. Not just against Dubois. Probably historically speaking. Historically speaking, as far as underdogs go, I'd say Lerena had the best start ever for a B-side. For a 10-1 underdog, yeah, there will never, or in the history of boxing, there's never been a better start for a 10-1 underdog. 3 knockdowns in the first round, and you ain't even really touched him. So my question is, Mr. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You had the best start possible, but then Andre Ward was commentating, and he said, what's this guy doing? He was in there fighting like he'd been put. The way Lerena was fighting was as if he'd been put down 3 times in the first round. He didn't. In fact, I don't remember him throwing a punch. The first round, Lerena came out, and he was pretty sturdy. But then the last 2 rounds, it was almost as if he'd been told, "Don't get Dubois out of there." That's how it looked. I mean, call me a liar. In them last 2 rounds, did you see Lerena throw anything? You had the best start. All you had to do, I'm not saying it's easy, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but you was the one talking about, "Oh, I'm coming here, I didn't come here for the money," and all this other stuff. Well, wait a minute, where was all the attitude in the ring? Because if you'd have stepped on him in that second round, who knows where it would have been. And like I said, never mind step on him, Lerena didn't throw a punch again. That's a fact. I didn't see Lerena throw a punch for the last 2 rounds. Now, what I think's gone on here is, like I said, it could be a scam. It could be Frank Warren told him, "Listen, we'll pay you 500 grand to sit down." You know what I mean? You just don't know who's been told what. Yeah? You don't know if Frank Warren's Don ran round the side of the ring and said, "Listen, I'll pay you 500 grand, just stand there like a muppet." I'm going to be honest here. For that kind of start, he was just standing there like a muppet. Now, like I said, apart from any scams, apart from any corruption, if that's not the case, what's happened is a combination of 2 things. Number 1, as I've been saying, these new age guys don't have it like that. They don't have that burning desire to get it. Because if they did, I mean, the whole logical thing is, Lerena, you got knocked out anyway in round 3. So why not get knocked out going for it? I can't fathom that. You put the guy down 3 times and then you get knocked out anyway. You might as well have said, "Listen, I've had the best start in history. Let me just give it a round 2. Let me go all in round 2 and then I can flop on my back in round 3 because I'm going there anyway." Do you know what I'm saying? And the kind of attitude he was giving it, all the hammer. But no, it wasn't me. Listen, we all know, we've all seen 10-1 underdogs before, turn up and roll over. We've all seen that one. No one expects any less, but the way you was giving it, Kevin Lerena didn't turn up for this. And he didn't turn up on the basis of, I'm going to roll over as a 10-1 underdog. He gave it the, "I'm coming in here as an A-side." Well, you didn't come in here as an A-side. Really, I haven't seen someone do any less, to be honest with you. For the kind of start you were gifted. Because really, he didn't even earn the start. It's not even like he came out like Rambo and was just sticking it all over Dubois. It really was, I'm going to say this, it really was luck. Kevin Lerena had the luckiest start, the best ever hand in a card game. He was gifted, and he did absolutely nothing with it. I didn't see any intention. He was happy to get his Barnet jabbed off for him. Now, that's the second point. So, apart from corruption, the 2 factors why the fight went the way it did was because, number 1, these new age guys don't have no pride. These new age guys don't have no oomph. These new age guys don't have no commitment. But the second likely factor is that Dubois is seriously heavy-handed. Because I've seen Kevin Lerena in there with Marius Wack. Kevin Lerena didn't put Marius Wack down at all. And I've seen Lerena in there, no problem, exchanging and whatever else. So the point is, and that's what people have said, people do say, these big guys at the top level of boxing, they have something different on their shots. It feels different. It rocks your whole body, down to your boots. So, I mean, Joe Joyce, the best heavyweight chin of certainly top 5 heavyweight chins of all time, he even said Dubois is a heavy-handed guy. And my point is, it looked like the way Lerena was fighting like he felt something he hadn't ever felt before. Bottom line. When you see a fighter, especially after he just got a knockdown, and still, your man Dubois was on stilts. So why, assuming Lerena wasn't paid off, why would Lerena not be throwing his hands? The only answer for that is he was scared of what's coming back, and he felt something that was ungodly in there. He felt ungodly power. And that's what happens. We've seen it. It's a well-known thing within boxing. And people, when someone's heavy-handed and their opposition don't like that, it shuts them down and they go into survival mode. And all they worry about, and that's the way it went. All Lerena did for the last 2 rounds was worry about what's coming back. He wasn't focused at all on any of his own offense, even though he had the best start possible. He should have been all offense in that second round, and then really, he didn't do anything. He was the one fighting as if he'd been put down 4 times. He was in pure survival mode. And that is some of these uber alpha buff dudes, they do have that kind of, oh my god kind of power, where it shuts all, any ambition you thought you had, it just shuts you down, and you go into survival mode. And that's what Lerena did. And obviously, fair play to Dan. Dan, that first round, when I was watching it, I thought, I've bet money on a jacker. I knew he was a jacker. Because he just kept jumping on the floor. I thought, what the fuck? Honestly, I couldn't believe it. Why is this big buff dude jumping on the floor every 2 seconds? Do you know what I'm saying? Why is the big one of the buffest dudes I've ever seen, how he keep jumping on the floor? The last 2 ones, he won't even hit as well. What the fuck? Now, as it turns out, the post-fight interview, allegedly, he twists his knee, but I don't know about that. Although I do have to also say, when normally Dubois, he looks heavy-handed. Tonight, Shane McGuigan said that his knee was unstable, and that's why he couldn't really sit down on his shots. And I do have to agree that Dubois' shots didn't look as deadly and as leveraged as they normally are. So they probably weren't lying. It probably was his knee. Because to be fair to Dubois, he isn't known, even when he lost to Joyce, he wasn't jumping on the floor every 2 seconds. He got popped. What I'm saying is, Dubois isn't known to be chinny. Dubois doesn't just jump on the floor for the sake of it. But that night, I guess at the end of the day, it was his knee. It wasn't neurologically a problem, because he was able to, he just kept going down. Which implies it's his knee and not his head. Because when it's your head, you can still stand up, you just kind of discombobulated. Whereas Dubois, he wasn't discombobulated, he just kept almost the pain of his knee or whatever else. He felt like he couldn't stand up. Dubois looked like he couldn't stand up, he looked like he physically couldn't stand up, not, oh, my head's gone and I fell on the floor because I'm half unconscious. Do you know what I'm saying? So it probably was his knee, in all fairness. But yeah, fair play to Dubois. For what it's worth, he's fought through it. Going forward, though, it does have to be said, anyone who fights Dubois now will be licking their chops and saying, all I got to do is lick him on top of his barnet right here. And you know what I'm saying? That's what people are going to be thinking right now. He's lost that. Even when he lost to Joyce, like I said, even when he lost to Joyce, he didn't lose to Joyce because his chin was no good. Now there's going to be serious AJ questions about Dubois. Can he hold a shot to the top of his bonds? Because we know AJ is that saying, I don't know what it is about it. It seems to be the Anunnaki have made a mistake here with the genetic code. Yeah, whenever the Anunnaki dons make these big buff bulbous looking ass nicks, they've put some. There must be some genetic mutation going on, because these big buff dudes, the minute you touch them here, they rot. You know what I mean? They completely fall apart. It's quite amazing that they're all the same as well. It's not just like who is the 2 most buffest dudes in heavyweight boxing? AJ and Dubois. Both of them have the same flaw. Touch them right here and they fall apart. It's mad, but yeah, listen, I'm just praying to the gambling gods that, honestly, I've seen it all now, and I'm, all jokes aside, that fight, I'm going to seriously review what I'm doing going forward in scaling it back, because if that can happen, if Dubois can be put down 3 times in the first round without being hit, you wonder what you're doing here. It was the other week, who was it? Zach Parker. Oh, I broke my hand. Like, you can't bet on these guys. They're not solid guys. Yeah, again, fair play to Dubois. He did what he's supposed to do, came through it, yeah, but who did you come through it against? You came through it against a man who wasn't even there to win. I'm going to be honest. Lerena didn't fight to win. He got lucky in the first round and did nothing else since. That's not a guy coming to win. For example, compare it to Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz, listen, let me tell you this now. Andy Ruiz versus Dubois. I'd actually bet on Ruiz on that one. Why? We know Ruiz. Ruiz has pinpoint accuracy of hitting you on the top of your barnet. And he has super quick hooks as well. And he's a super quick counter puncher. Dubois is quite pondersome, and his guard's a bit leaky sometimes. That I'm telling you now, a right hook or a left hook from Ruiz is going straight there. And the difference is, Ruiz ain't no Lerena. Ruiz will punch with you, win, lose or draw. Yeah? And that's what happened with AJ. AJ went in there, put Ruiz down, and Ruiz came back fighting. Ruiz has, if Lerena had half of what Ruiz has, it would have been, God knows how it might have went. Because, let me tell you this now, if Ruiz puts Dubois down in the first round, I'll be shocked if Dubois makes it out of the second round, truth be known. Ruiz isn't the biggest puncher, but he will overwhelm you. And that's all I feel it needed. I'm glad, for my sake, I'm glad it didn't happen, but honestly, if Lerena had gone in there, hands up, chin down, and just walked through the fire in that second round and just gone for it, I'm not sure Dubois would be here. Truth be known, I'm not sure Dubois would have made it through. Because all Lerena did was kind of stand there, hands up, and just follow him around the ring. He weren't cutting the ring off. He didn't have no intention. He was there to lose, which is really, it's a shame. He earned his 10-1 underdog. Yeah, that's exactly what you are. You ain't no Ruiz. Because when Ruiz was a 20-1 underdog against AJ, he turned up. Yeah. So yeah, man, listen. Wild. Honestly, I thought I'd seen it all. I thought I'd seen it all last week when Zach Parker faked broken hand. I thought, there's no way lightning strikes twice. Do you know, freak the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And the whole cliche of heavyweight boxing, I don't know, man. I'm telling you, it's these new age guys. Yes, there were knockdowns in the old school, man, but people had pride. They didn't want to go down. The way Dubois was going down, he couldn't wait to jump on the floor, could he? And I do have to say, I wonder how well Dubois deals with being under pressure. That's why I tell you, I would bet on Ruiz to beat Dubois. Now, in particular. Because when he got knocked down, yeah, Lerena didn't even hit him again. But when he got knocked down the first time, yeah, Lerena was edging forward. And it was almost as if Dubois was anticipating being mauled. And then he went down again. Just before Lerena got on top of him and started letting shots go, Dubois took a knee. It was almost like he knew what was coming. It's a bit, to be honest with you, it's a bit like the Joe Joyce fight. Yeah? Dubois was in the fight. Joyce was starting to build up in the last few rounds. And it was almost like Dubois knew, he's building up. And then he started taking a knee. That's how it looked the same kind of way. And I'm telling you now, Ruiz won't be no Lerena. Ruiz will get on him and stay on him. So yeah, there are certainly questions now about Dubois the whole way through. There's serious questions now that I didn't think were there before. Yeah, everyone talks about quitter, but for me, the eye thing, I don't really count that as a pure quit. Because the eye for me, hand, carry on. Shoulder, carry on. The eye thing, I'm not going to judge either way. But that, getting hit on top of your head and kind of jump on the floor against, and the thing is, it's dangerous because it's the caliber of opponent. If this fight was Dubois versus Ruiz, it's a lot more understandable how it happened. But if you're getting chipped by some next dude who has no power, this guy couldn't put Marius Wack down. So if you're getting clipped by these guys, what happened when Wilder clipped you? What happened when Ruiz clipped you? What happened when Fury clipped you? And I'm surprised because, as I said, Joyce was hitting him all night. And I guess the thing is, though, Joyce wasn't really hitting Dubois with hooks. It was all jab and it was all straight shots. So maybe, like AJ, the Anunnakis who coded Dubois' DNA, they put some sort of fail-safe in there. Just in case these big buff dudes think they're going to take over the world, the Anunnaki put a kind of a fail-safe in their bonds. Yeah, the Anunnaki knows all they got to do, is get a pole and lick it on the side of the head, and it deactivates the big buff dudes. Yeah, so, apparently the alien Anunnakis, they made the biggest, buffest universal soldiers, but they got to the point where they were scared that the big buff universal soldiers might get together and try and take the power back. So that's what they encoded a soft fail-safe in the side of their barnet right there. All the Anunnaki have to do is tap them on the side of it and they flop to the floor. That's what it must be. That's what it looks like to me. My professional opinion. There's some sort of genetic mutation. Some sort of genetic... what's the word? Yeah, some sort of genetic error, man, end of the day. That's been coded into these big buff burly dons. Because I don't care what no one says. This guy ain't a big puncher. He weren't even there to win and you're on the floor for it. I don't know. I've seen it all now. Honestly, I'm scared to see what happens next. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, fucking hell. I'm scared to see what happens next with this one. Jesus Christ. But yeah, Dubois, fair play to the guy. He did what he's supposed to do. Lerena, I don't want to hear no more about that guy. Yeah, useless have an ass dude. No ambition. It worked out well for me. I'm glad he had no ambition. But nah, man, for the sport's sake, this was a bad showing all round, to be honest. No ambition. Yeah, poor. Very poor. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell 100%.